Okay, so as you said, change must occur from internally at Brock Radio. A way to do that is to have a BUSAC counselor and a BUSU executive on the board. We had a BUSAC counselor actually come in and say that she did want change. She did want things to happen. She had said that there was flaws at the radio station. Before even being able to have her voice heard and to do some involvement with the radio station and to make a change, she left. She left and then complained about how there was no student involvement at the station when her herself had the opportunity to do that, to make that change. Is it not needed if BUSAC executives and BUSAC counselors are allowed to be on the radio station and can make change? Why is that not being done first? What about the other ways? There were no other ways taken. You said earlier in the debate that this is the last straw, I guess you could say, you could call it, that this should be the last straw, is defunding the radio station. But you've just suggested that there's more than one way to actually do this. Why are none of those other avenues taken? Why is it so drastic, and why is it feeling very personal to do this, to completely defund the radio station? I would say that there are easily other ways to help reform and to have student voices heard on the radio station. I think those avenues are just being looked over because of personal feelings and egos, I would say.
We can make websites, we can make posters, we can do a whole bunch of work that way and have Booster just potentially ignore it. This is the only guaranteed way that reform can happen, and it's the only guaranteed way we can go about doing it. In terms of it being the last straw, yeah, it's the last straw, because it's the only straw in the hay bale.
Why is a new BUSU executive who has the same feelings and the same opinions coming forward and saying those things and helping make those change? That seems like a more viable option than completely starving out the radio station with no funding and then begging back for a reform. I think it's very drastic and it's very bully-like, I would say. I feel it myself as a student.
So in terms of, we've kind of discussed on why the BUSU exec hasn't sent somebody else. I don't know the reason behind it. I'm just assuming they selected one. They're probably a little angry that the one that they selected wasn't accepted in terms of being there. So let's kind of move on from that topic now. Let's move on and kind of change. In terms of Danielle Hunter was a BUSAC counselor. I do have a statement from her about this, so if you wouldn't mind if I could read it.
Sure,
in terms of why I quit on board. So she says that I quit during our board of directors training. I did a lot of research the night before I started the training. The reason I quit is because they said I couldn't be accountable to the students when the whole reason for being on board was to represent the best interest of the students. So she quit because she couldn't be accountable to students. She quit because the board of directors were saying you need to support Brock Radio first and then you can help the students. So there is that kind of conflict of interest taking place. So drastic change, yeah, it's drastic to say we need to defund, but that's happening because students who are on the board of directors feel like they can't change anything from being on the board. So we need change to take place and guaranteed student representation on the board to see these changes happen. We want that when an executive wants on, when a BUSAC counselor wants on, they get on because BUSAC votes on that and BUSAC decides this is the best counselor to go there. When the BUSU executive decide that yes, we want an exec to sit there, we vote that this is the best exec of our four to send there. So they've made that decision that this is the best person, and right now the collective can go, no thank you, we don't want that to take place. That shouldn't happen. The change we want to see is this guaranteed representation. The BUSU exec made a decision. They decided that one of them is more qualified than the others to be sent there. So if the BUSU exec feels that this one person is better than the other three, or has the interest to do this more than the other three do, why is it the right of the collective to be like, you know what, we just don't want this one. We want another one. There's somebody else who we think might be better. There might not even be someone, it just might be we don't want anyone taking place. The fact that they have this kind of veto power over people who get sent, I mean, what happens if theoretically all four of them get sent? You can veto all four of them. You can veto any student board member who kind of gets sent there just based on the AGM vote, which students are not naturally members of despite the fact that we pay for it. So it's not really taking place. It's not. I mean, you can theoretically veto down every single student who comes there, which means there are no students who are sitting on the board. The fact that this doesn't happen doesn't mean it's something that shouldn't be fixed. It's something that we need to be proactive in fixing. And the fact that students are not members means that I can't even suggest that we can fix it. Students cannot even have a voting right in terms of fixing these organizational problems or these issues for students. The only thing that even technically an outside non-member, such as a paying student is, the only thing that they can even choose to do is whether or not they want to vote to defund. That's as much touching of the organization as a student can actually do without spending an extra 8 hours. And that needs to change.
The radio station is right now currently a representation of students. It has student involvement. It's voted based on a student weighted vote. It has students on the board and more students can facilitate more students on the board, and we're waiting for those students on the board.
Students aren't even members of the collective. The way that it's written in your bylaws is that despite the fact that I pay for it, I'm not actually a member of the collective. In order to be a member of the collective, I have to do 8 hours of volunteer work. So I have to do an extra 8 hours in order to have my say even heard in Brock Radio right now. I find that kind of ridiculous, despite the fact that we pay for this service. We're paying for this service, but we have no say in how the service works. And in order to have say, we have to do extra work on top of that. That to me doesn't really seem like it's student representation, and it's not in the student's best interest.
So our collective meetings work where students who are members of the collective, yes, they have a voting right, but any student can come to the collective meeting and have their voice heard and have them speak and pretty much talk to the collective to help contribute their opinion. The student positions, actually the BUSAC counselor and the BUSU executive positions, are actually meant there so that student voices can be heard in that way. Why are students, if they are having trouble, why are they not approaching those positions as their representations on the board and asking for representation or to them to voice their concerns directly to the board?
I'm curious as to how you think it's in the best interest of students and the best interest of student dollars that students are not guaranteed membership. So the fact that students pay for the service and the fact that undergraduate students are paying for the service, why is it not that they're guaranteed? And why is it not set up that it's the best interest of students for them not to be voting members inside of the collective right away?
Students actually choose representatives in a lot of avenues to help represent them, including the BUSU governance executives, and those are avenues for those students that are not members of the collective to have a voting privilege. It's very easy to get voting privileges on the radio station and towards the collective. Students have involvement with the radio station. They have input on the governance of it. I think we are involved, and we are not excluding anyone in any sense. There's avenues for every student to get involved and to have their voice heard.
So there are avenues for it, but it's not a guaranteed right. It's still, arguably, would it not be better that students who pay for the service are automatically members of it? It's the way that it works for other organizations on campus. It's the way that works for OPIRG. By the fact that students pay for it and students fund it, they should be guaranteed that right, in my opinion. And I think it's best for student interests to have that say, to be guaranteed that say. In terms of other avenues, yeah, there's the avenue of BUSU exec and BUSAC counselor. We've talked about it. There's veto power there that the collective can take place. So they are not guaranteed this say. How is that in the best interest of students?
And that Brock Student Radio is looking for new involvement with the station, and I would say that BUSU has failed to represent the students in this front, and I would love to have even a meeting with BUSU executive, and I haven't had that opportunity. Things like that, where the relationship between us could be repaired and we could move forward. They've just lingered from previous years, and I think that it's time to move forward and for new representation to occur on the board, which I think is how reform should happen. And I think that we can do it internally. Students can reach out to those representatives on the current board structure, which they did vote for previously, just only a year ago that they wanted to approve it. I think that that's a legitimate system, that we can use that system. And I myself have been heard and used that system, and it's worked.